It's another week, which means another episode of the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast.
Another episode to get yanked down.
Yeah, well, that's why, I'll explain my name. But anyway, you are, I have a need to know, Adam.
Hey, everyone.
As always, so happy to have you here. And I am non-controversial Topher because we are so sick of having our episodes removed from YouTube. I'm not going to say anything controversial. I'm not going to say anything bad about Israel. I'm not going to say anything bad about the COVID response. Nothing. It is just going to be straight takes. Nothing controversial here at all.
All right, we'll try. We'll try our best. But yeah, what is that? 2 for 2?
2 for 2.
Oh, so the week before was yes.
We should point out the government is great, and everything they do, and every government around the world, everything they do is spot on. They never do anything wrong.
Right, exactly.
Hi, YouTube.
And the week before was medical misinformation, and then last week was thanks News Nation. We played the 3-minute clip of Jacob Barber, and I don't know if it was automated or News Nation did it, but they said it was a copyright and blocked the entire thing.
News Nation, what a fantastic publication! They do nothing wrong.
No, and you'd think they want the information out there,
But they don't say anything negative. They do nothing wrong. They are just the best. So is every news outlet. They don't tell lies. Nothing. It's all good here.
Yes, News Nation, we appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. But we're getting back into our deep dives this week.
Finally.
Yeah, it's a case out of Russia. I think
1986.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called Dalnegorsk.
Yeah, it's a hell of a name. But a cool little village in eastern Russia.
Yeah, it is, and it's a small mining town. It was during the Soviet era, right? So the Iron Curtain was. I mean, they weren't allowed to talk about UFOs.
Right. That was the whole thing. That's how this story came out. It came out like a decade after it happened, because that's when the East and the West decided to share information about everything, but including UFOs.
Yeah, and George Knapp, he was one of the first ones to go over there and get all these files and folders, and he smuggled them back into the United States. Brave guy.
What a guy.
Yeah. Too bad he's associated with some guy who was crybaby last week.
He has never done anything wrong. What a fellow.
You really are. You're living up to your name this week.
Controversy here. That's just a great guy, never done anything wrong. Neither has anybody else.
All right, I guess let's see how the experiment works.
Yeah.
All right, so we can get started. We can cue the music, get riled up, and start.
Let's do it.
How does that sound?
Hell yeah. It sounds very non-controversial.
And just to let everyone know, all the music that we play on the show is done by Topher. It's written and produced by Topher. Very talented and very catchy songs, great lyrics.
Thank you.
And it's not just me. I mean, I might be biased, but we hear it from a lot of the audience, and even people who are who have a critical ear even say it. So it's good to know. And here's one of the first ones you did. Definitely gets me riled up. This song sticks in my head after we play it all the time.
Hell yeah.
Here we go. Yeah.
Changes day by day, so you have to find it. That's the only way. It's the UAP podcast with Adam and Topher. So don't let it pause and don't let it buffer. We're bringing you stories about conspiracies. We can't break the locks, but we can give you the keys. Oh, 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 oh. Hey, is that a black van? Oh God, I think they found us. Is that a man? He's dressed in all black and claims that he is human. But now we've disappeared and might be burning. Tune in anyway and we'll let you know about the anomalies we've uncovered and so and so.
It's funny that that's the one you like so much. That's the one of the first ones I did, and it's got a typo in it, and you can hear it in the song.
Yeah, we should do a video for that, especially with the black van coming.
Yeah,
I would love to film that.
And just to be just to be clear, all I do is write lyrics and type it into an app called Suno. It's not like I sit there and compose the music or anything like that. It's all AI driven. You just give
It's
it you
AI,
just give it
but you still
lyrics.
have to prompt it, right? You do have to put it in prompt.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
put in a genre of music and the lyrics, and that's it. I mean, technology is fantastic.
Yeah, I guess you can say I mean, still, I mean, lyrics I would say is like 50% at least, right?
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, what's funny is you never know the cadence of what's going to come out. And so you write these things that rhyme, and then sometimes it doesn't work out because the AI will put emphasis on the wrong word. And so
Oh,
you have to
and then
mix
you
it
have
up
to
a little
redo
bit.
it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good work, man.
Thank you.
All right. So, like we mentioned, we're going to do a deep dive into the Dalnegorsk UFO crash.
Also,
Um,
sometimes known as the Height 611 crash.
yes, Height 611. And also, they call it the Russian Roswell.
Very nice.
Although I don't think there's any biologics with this one.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear the dogs barking outside?
Yeah, that's fine. It's very little.
Sorry about that. They're going
But
nuts.
yeah, but I right, there was no biologics with this. I think
If I remember correctly, they had found evidence that something biological had either fallen out of the craft or had been hanging around the craft. That was in one of the videos I watched.
all right, cool. All right, so yeah, I can start. The small mining town of Dalnegorsk in the Primorsky Krai region of southeastern Russia, bordered by China, North Korea, and the Sea of Japan. So it's really in the east. Resides in a serene and picturesque valley within equally picturesque hills and woodland near the Rodnaya River. However, in late January 1986, that serenity was broken by an apparent UFO crash, and then the intense rush of media attention on the area that would follow. Hundreds of people would witness. So it's not just a few, right?
Right.
Witness the events.
It was the whole town.
Yeah, the whole town. And aside from the media interest, many Soviet UFO researchers would risk sending private accounts of the incident to like-minded researchers on the other side, they mean us, of the political divide and through the Iron Curtain. So significant are the events that many refer to them as the Roswell incident of the Soviet Union. And what's more, like such similar incidents around the world as the Roswell crash or the Rendlesham Forest incident, which we will cover soon, they remain by and large unexplained.
Yeah, Rendlesham will be a fun one. That's going to be a 4-hour episode.
Yeah.
Oh, what is the name of that mountain? I'll scroll up just a little bit. Izvestkoivaya. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Izvestkoivaya. I don't know. I can't say it either.
That is so Russian.
Yeah.
At around 7:55 p.m. on the 29th of January, 1986, a bright reddish sphere appeared in the cold winter sky over Dalnegorsk. It would move with great speed, but made no sound whatsoever. Multiple residents of the small town witnessed the object seemingly flying parallel to the ground. It was a near perfect round shape and apparently of a metal exterior color of burning stainless steel. Yeah, a lot of people said it looked like rust colored. Yevgeny Serabov, a young boy at the time of the incident, would state that the object had neither tail nor trail behind it. The idea that it might have been a meteor, if Serabov's description is accurate, he is now an accomplished scientist, is unlikely. This, incidentally, was confirmed by the Soviet scientists who arrived in the area in the aftermath of the incident. Yeah, I think, from what I remember, the first person to arrive, I don't remember his name, but it's a very Russian name, but it was 2 days after the incident.
Oh, wow. So it took, I mean, because it's in a remote area, and this is in the 80s.
Right. Yeah, it was 2 whole days. They're probably going to cover it later in this article, but when he arrived, it had been snowing. This happened in January in Russia, so of course it was snowing. But he said that the crash site wasn't covered in snow, so it had been snowing, and there was snow all around the area, but at the exact crash site there was no snow. So they're talking about the UFO here again. Suddenly, the strange aerial craft began to stutter and jerk slightly. It would then fall down like a rock, eventually crashing into the Izvestkoivaya Koivaya Mountain, otherwise referred to as Height 611, in reference to its size. That's how tall it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the witnesses would describe the sound of the impact as a muted thump before the ruins would burn intensely for around an hour. Some estimates suggest the duration to be shorter. Well, what's funny is some of the videos I saw is people said it burned up to 4 hours.
Interesting.
Longer than that, but it was about an hour. Most people did agree on, however, was the fire was that of an electrical nature.
Interesting. Electrical nature.
You want to take this?
Yeah, the editor of the local Trudovoy Slovo newspaper, V. Korotko, man, they got some tough names. V.
Yeah.
Korotko would state that after a short but powerful explosion, he could see large reddish white flames. He would state that the fire, although powerful, would only burn for several minutes. It is perhaps worth noting that some witnesses would report that the actual ground around the object began to burn. This might be the reason for the discrepancy in how long the object burned and how long the flames themselves were visible. Here we have some pictures of what was found. That's that mesh that you mentioned on the right there. And then there's some spheres, metallic spheres.
Yeah, interesting. They were, yeah, we talked about. I was going to bring up the metal and gold and stuff that was found. But we can. It's either going to be touched on in the article, or we can just talk about it later.
Yeah. So, investigation and the recovery of strange fragments and materials. So, Dr. Valerie
Oh, good luck with that one.
Zilny. Man, sorry, Russians out there.
Yeah, we apologize. We were so bad at names.
Who was the head of the Far Eastern Committee for Anomalous Phenomena, was the first to lead an investigation into the incident during the opening days of February. However, before he arrived, a small group of locals, a mixture of children and adults, had ventured out to the site for themselves. They would discover a burnt-out tree stump and several indentations in the ground, presumably where the sphere had impacted. They didn't find any large pieces of debris as they were expecting, like they would, for example, if it was a conventional plane crash. However, they would discover and collect several rock fragments with a strange metallic tint. They would pass their findings along to Dvuzilini, who would immediately think to himself how these samples had the appearance of soft metal. He would perform brief examinations of them, subjecting them to a variety of acids. None would have any effect.
Yeah. So one of the things that stuck out in some of the things I watched about this case was the metal. As they were trying to dissolve the rocks and get to the metal would disappear. I don't know how
that is so bizarre.
True that is, but that's what was reported in some of these.
So not only would some metals show up, some would disappear as well. So I mean, now we're more knowledgeable of metamaterials. Metamaterials do that. So it might have been a case of that, and I don't think we had that in the 80s. We might have. I'm not going to discount it, but did the Russians have it? Was it one of ours that crashed? And
right?
Yeah. So you want to take this?
Yeah, when he arrived at the site for himself, he would find that the entire ground and surrounding vegetation was entirely burned away. What's more, this burnt land was so definitely defined that it appeared to be a different part of the land entirely. The snow surrounding the scorched section was still thick in place, for example. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier. Careful investigation of the ruined land would uncover around 30 strange droplets of a dark color and unknown origin. Most of these were less than 2 millimeters. However, several were as large as 5 millimeters.
Very small.
Very small. When analyzed, they were found to contain compounds of nickel, chromium, and aluminum. Furthermore, only a diamond blade saw could penetrate their exterior. They would further discover that the metals were amorphous. This would suggest that their origin was likely a laboratory setting and not naturally occurring.
Interesting. So amorphous means that it was put together.
Mm-hmm. Futuristic inner treads and structures of intelligent design? Upon further and more detailed study, the droplets would reveal some outstanding, almost futuristic properties. For example, tiny threads were found to be made of inner fibers, which had a plate-like appearance. Furthermore, intertwined with these already complex fibers were thin gold wires. Further still, the overall gold content would boast over 100 grams per ton.
1,000.
Sorry, 1,000 grams per ton, yeah.
Crazy.
when we consider that our own industrial use of gold requires only 4 grams per ton, it is easy to understand just how futuristic and strong this material is. Around these super gold lines were also quartz crystal cords.
Yeah, so it just shows because gold is very electrical, right? It's conducts electricity really well.
I was going to say, yeah, it's highly conductive, and gold is very malleable. It can be bent and manipulated pretty easily.
So wait, they were looking at that mesh structure, and that's what it had in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nuts, right?
Yeah.
Even stranger, and perhaps in a similar way to some of the bizarre theories scientists are working with today that suggest reality doesn't actually exist unless we view it. When investigators would straighten these lines out to view their structure further, they would jump from view and disappear. Not only that, but once straightened out like this, they could no longer be found. Wow.
Hey, I think it was last week or the week before, there was an interview that we played with someone in the black world. He was saying something similar where, the reason why this material is not given or is not out there so much is because when it's looked at, it like dematerializes or like hides away.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre concept, but it's not totally unfounded. I mean, one of the most popular experiments that it seems like everyone knows now is the double slit experiment, where electrons behave differently when they're being viewed.
Yep.
So I mean, this is not completely unheard of, but it is weird. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is bizarre stuff.
Yeah, and it's using basically consciousness like that as well when you're observing something. Alexei Kulikov, that's pretty easy, a carbon expert at the Far Eastern branch of Russian Academy of Sciences, would state that some of these strange samples appear to be glass carbon. However, they came into being would be impossible to say. Their structures did though suggest a very purposeful design, which would require super high temperatures for their creation. In short, they would appear to be of intelligent creation. The short video below goes over the basics of the incident. And also, okay, this is a sightings video. You want to play some of it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Man, Sightings was such a great show. They should bring it back because they're bringing back lots of shows.
Right.
I was going to say Uncovering Anomalies, like Unsolved Mysteries. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I love that show. That song is so cool. Oh, come on! Don't start this now.
Oh, it's going to.
Oh my god. What if I press play?
In recent years, sightings have occurred near military installations in New Mexico, Nevada, and UFO sightings and power outages over several days in late December 1980. We are now learning these encounters are not limited to the West. A series of sightings over the Siberian cities of Vladivostok and Dalnegorsk have some convinced that extraterrestrial spies are surreptitiously observing military installations in the former Soviet Union. Vladivostok is home to the Russian fleet, including nuclear-powered submarines.
Oh, interesting. So I didn't know that. So there is a military base there, of course. So this thing could have been shot down, right? I mean, crash.
What the townsfolk had seen, it certainly sounds like it was malfunctioning or something, because they talked about how it was going up and down, and not flying, not like immediately crashing, but it was flying overhead, like it was trying to fly, but it kept dropping and falling,
like it was malfunctioning.
Yeah.
It is a place where UFOs are sighted very frequently and where similar phenomena occur.
Alexander Rempel is president of the Vladivostok Association of Ufologists. An engineer and former military officer, Rempel has amassed a catalog of local sightings.
This is a panoramic view of Vladivostok. In broad daylight, people suddenly saw a bright flash up in the sky, and this glowing sphere rose up. One passerby had a camera and shot this object.
This photograph of what appears to be a strange three-toed footprint was shot near a Vladivostok military installation.
The traces left by...
Whoa, did you see that? That was bizarre.
See what? The footprint?
This thing, it's a footprint. I thought he... Okay, never mind. I thought this thing was like flying in the air or something.
No.
Okay.
Military installation.
The traces left by these unusual beings are found at the sites of well-guarded military units. This is where radioactive waste from Russia is kept.
A few miles away from Vladivostok, near the small mining town of Dalnegorsk, a UFO crashed on this hilltop in 1986. The site, known only by its height 611, is littered with strange debris and is considered to be one of the most significant UFO locations in all of Russia.
The sphere was red, it was flying straight, and then sharply fell down.
I saw a fire balloon fly from this site and fall there on this knoll.
After that, a fire started. It burned for 1 hour.
The first person to reach the scene was biologist and Academy of Sciences Meteorite Commission member Valery Duzhilny.
Something was burning. This could have been a meteorite, but meteorites do not cause fires. When I climbed up to this place, the snow was deep. There I saw a place which left a great impression on me. There was no snow, it just evaporated. I saw the remains of a burnt tree and the remains of metallic spheres.
Samples of charred metal gathered at the site attracted nationwide attention. Analysis was done by Russia's most prestigious academies.
Whatever remained at the site itself had such unusual properties.
Paul Stonehill, head of the Russian Ufology Research Center headquartered in the United States, has examined many of the samples from Height 611.
The mesh itself had something very strange, very unusual, tiny filaments. And inside those filaments, quartz filaments, one could find yet other filaments or nettings, gold nettings, 7 microns thick. I mean, a human hair is 56 microns. Now, that we have no technology to insert gold filaments of that size into quartz filaments. What they could be used for remains an enigma.
It's an enigma that continues to draw serious attention from Russia's top scientific researchers.
Their Academy of Sciences has had an ongoing public study of UFOs since the 1970s.
George Knapp is an investigative journalist. He is frustrated by the seeming lack of interest in UFOs by American academics.
Here, the people like Carl Sagan say, you can't study UFOs, there's nothing to study, there's no physical evidence. Well, that's baloney, and the Russians are proving that. Their Academy of Sciences, the most respected scientific organization in that nation, has been studying it for decades. They do what scientists are supposed to do. They take samples, they conduct experiments, they dig in the soil, they check for radiation, and they've come up with some fairly amazing results.
In the case of samples collected by scientists at Height 611, the results are startling.
It could very well be physical evidence of an extraterrestrial origin. That was the conclusion of the initial scientific team that went to the site. There were strange alloys in there that couldn't be readily identified. Rare earth metals in combinations that have never been seen of a natural origin.
Here we can see the results of our tests. The sample contains elements such as lithium, nickel, and some others. But most importantly, it contains the element promethium. The element promethium is artificial. It cannot be found on the Earth.
Human subject.
Did you say that it was an artificial promethium? It's called. I didn't even heard of that. I guess.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I guess it's named after Prometheus, right? The god that gave humans fire.
Well, it's certainly not named after the horrible Alien movie.
I know, man. That one had so much potential.
All of the recent ones have potential. They just suck. They really suck.
So man, this shows that we've been reverse engineering, because nowadays we do have the technology to go really, really small, right? The nanotech that we have, they're way smaller than the human hair. So this was what, 40 years ago? Almost 40 years ago this happened.
Yeah, wow, man. No, it's more than 40 years, isn't it? 80. Let me do some quick math. No, you're right. 40, 41 or 39 years ago.
39 years, yeah. Nuts. So
weird. It's like right around this time too, because we're heading towards the end of January and this thing crashed. What did that say? January 29th or something. So yeah.
Exactly. I wonder if it was the same date, because the date says end of January. Yeah, we don't know what time. Well,
I think I think it said the exact date in the article.
Oh, okay. We can go back up and check it. So this one's almost done.
Testing also took place. In a controlled study, physicians and medical researchers examined those who had worked at Height 611 in the days following the UFO incident.
Samples of blood pressure and pulse were taken. For the group that went to the top of height 611, the number of red blood cells, the differential blood count was altered, and the amount of elements in the blood rose. In the meantime, the control group's blood tests stayed normal. I believe that either alien machinery or a spaceship fell down and crashed. I think that otherwise it cannot be explained.
Doctors and researchers inside Russia continue their investigation, while a handful of American experts are still having difficulty convincing our own scientists of the importance of Height 611.
Well, they wouldn't have that problem today, I don't think.
Probably not.
It seems like everyone's into this. I mean, it's crazy. When we started the show, it wasn't that big, but it's a balloon. It's everywhere.
Yeah. In fact, this place has been kind of popular. I know now they actually, someone put a UFO up there. Like if you look on,
on Google Earth.
Well, no, if you look at articles or videos of people who currently, who go there now, and it's like a historical site, so they have a UFO there. It's like, I think Rendlesham has the same thing.
Yeah. Most of the big sites do. Even some smaller crashes, like in some small towns here, have plaques.
I bring this up because crash site remains active for years after. Further investigation at the site itself would also declare some interesting findings. For example, the burnt tree stump was particularly intriguing. One side of it had a bizarre shiny appearance, as if it had some kind of seal on it. Testing would reveal it was in fact melted. When wood burns, pure carbon is the result. And for carbon to melt, as the tree's appearance suggested had happened, the temperature would have to be in the excess of 3,000 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
This polished appearance would surface in other places around the crash site also. According to locals and persistent research of investigations, the area would remain active for several years following the incident. No vegetation would grow within the area, and no animals, insects, or birds would venture there. I don't know how you test that kind of logic. Insects, really? Did they carry a bunch of grasshoppers to the site and they jump away? Anyway,
I don't know.
There's no spiders here. What the hell?
Right. Hey, why does it keep doing that?
Scrolling down its own.
Yeah.
We're being hacked by the CIA. I mean, the CIA, great, wonderful organization that does only good things around the world. Non-controversy. No controversy here. The interested locals or over-enthusiastic researchers, that's us, who did take the risk of a visit would often become very sick in the days following. Sounds like radiation. Furthermore, electronic equipment would rarely work within this bizarre zone. Yeah, I mean, this is all UFO stuff. This is UFO Crash 101.
Yeah, exactly. Even crop circles, right? They would say the same thing.
That something came down on the mountainside that cold January night is not in doubt. What it was and why there was no wreckage of any kind, aside from the fragments already mentioned, however, is the real question. Zvolny would theorize that the craft, which indeed had crashed, was not engulfed by the flames. Remember, the flames on the craft may have only burned for several minutes. The burning, which remember was of an electrical nature according to most witnesses, was repairs being carried out by the crew who were on board, whatever crew were on board. Yeah, that's an interesting take.
That makes sense.
This, according to the theory, explains extremely high temperatures in only very specific places. This would also explain the lack of wreckage. Yeah, that's a big one. At some point in the hours following the crash, the object discreetly continued on its way.
So I guess something happened, some malfunction, it crashed, they got out, they fixed it somehow.
Well, we talked earlier. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. We talked earlier about the craft moving up and down, and that's why we kept saying malfunctioning. But one of the things that wasn't mentioned in the article was the object, whatever it was, would burn brighter as it was ascending. So it'd get higher, it'd look brighter, and then it'd fall down, and the glow would go away. Which sounds like some sort of propulsion.
Right. Yeah, and it could be plasma if the burning happened around the craft. With the vegetation, whatever, but not the craft itself. Then it's maybe some kind of plasma shield or something it had. So, a geologic break attracting space visitors. Just over a week after the apparent crash, on the evening of the 8th of February at a little after 8 p.m., came reports of sightings of two yellowish spheres. They would approach the small mining village and would appear to circle over the crash sites several times. They then simply turned back in the direction they arrived from and disappeared. An even stranger incident occurred late in the evening of 28th November 1987, when just before 11:30 p.m., over 30 objects appeared in the sky. Witnesses, of which there were again numerous, would recall how the objects seemingly appeared out of nowhere. The objects would appear to disperse to different areas of the village, seemingly surveying them. 5 of them would perform this surveillance over the crash site. Each of the objects glowed and moved absolutely silently through the freezing night sky. Sounds
Wow.
initially, though, the objects were thought the objects were military jets. However, their lack of noise combined with the interference on television and radio receptions would make them reassess their initial thoughts. Though, drones, would call them drones today,
Hmm.
or orbs. Is there something special about this area of Russia? Zeleny would theorize that perhaps these apparent space visitors use such geological fissures on the planet as a form of orientation. We've heard that before.
Yeah, we have.
The area of the crash, for example, resides over a substantial geologic break. Not only this, powerful electromagnets and gravitational energy is present there. As much as these areas may be used for guidance, they may also cause crashes of these objects. Zeleny claims to have pinpointed several areas of interest within Russia. These areas contain similar geological breaks and have more than their fair share of UFO sightings. Yeah, I forget his name. There was a New Zealand researcher who did find that these craft, because he says they're terrestrial, it's another, or that these terrestrial craft do use this geometrical system on Earth, like a highway, basically like a super highway.
Yeah,
So
I mean this is
like
ley
levitate.
lines. This is what ley
Right.
lines are.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. This video is from that Stonehill guy that we saw. He goes more deep into what was found. There might be something of interest in here.
Yeah, let's check it out.
He's got a good channel. He's a great researcher.
Tree stump. The group took everything to Valery Viktorovich Dvuzhilny. At the time,
Sounds like he has a problem saying the name.
Yeah.
director of the local Museum of Regional Studies. Dvuzhilny had also spent some time analyzing this event. Dvuzhilny and his team had climbed the mountain 3 days after the crash. Dvuzhilny told Soviet journalists that UFO broke off about 2 cubic meters of a terrace of the rock, and 10 square meters of snow had evaporated at the site. The vegetation in the area had burned away, and the ground appeared burnt as well. The team was amazed that the area burned by fire was strictly defined, as if separated from the remainder of the mountain. A rhododendron bush, which grew at the very edge of the burned area, remained absolutely untouched by fire. But a rock composed of light brown silica shale cracked, formed fissures, and turned black as coal. Additionally, a thin layer of soil was mixed with ashes. Careful examination of the site turned up some 30 grams of an unusual substance of solidified droplets of dark color. Most droplets were tiny, from 0.5 millimeter to 2 millimeters in diameter, and some were larger, from 3 to 5 millimeters. The mysterious substance resembled soft metal. Several acids were tested on them, but there was no reaction. Dvuzhilny contacted the industrial laboratories of the Soviet enterprises, Bor and Dalnopilmetal. The analysis revealed that the smaller droplets were made up of an alloy of lead and contained up to 17 elements from the periodic table. The larger droplets turned out.
There they are. They're really small. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 millimeters.
Yeah, between 2 and 5 is what the article had
Yeah,
said.
really tiny.
To be compounds of chromium, nickel, and aluminum.
That's the
Only
tree
a
right there.
diamond saw blade was able to cut through them. Another incongruity was revealed. The light resembled and later were called tiny nets and lead balls. Close
So that looks like it was the tree that was melted or whatever. It became rock.
I'm curious about that as well. I don't know. I don't think
Right.
that's, well, it kind of looks like the tree, I guess.
Yeah, because they did say melted instead of burned, right?
Right.
Closer examination revealed very unusual properties. One of the tiny nets contained torn and very thin, 17 micrometers, threads. Each of the threads consisted of even thinner fibers tied up in plates. Intertwined within the fibers were very thin gold wires. Scientists calculated 18 different elements in the tiny net. The gold content of the net was equivalent to 1,100 grams per ton. Only 4 grams per ton are needed for industrial exploitation of ore deposit. And the silver content was equivalent to 3,100 grams per ton. Using electron microscopes, scientists discovered that the surface of the net contained quartz threads of 17 microns in thickness. One of the intertwined threads revealed an extremely thin gold line somehow placed in the very middle of the net. Later, gold lines were discovered in other specimens. When scientists tried to straighten one of the loops to be able to see better, the loop seemed to jump from view, and they were unable to find it. Alexei Kulikov, doctor of geological mineralogical sciences at the Institute of Organic and General Chemistry of the Russian Academy of Sciences, said that it was not possible to understand the makeup of tiny nets. They resembled glassy carbon, but it was not known how it was created. Most likely, extremely high temperatures were needed to produce conditions to permit creation of such glassy carbon. Now, the tree stump from the mountain was no less amazing. One side of the tree stump was dull, and the other side was shiny, as if covered by lacquer. Burned wood is pure carbon, wood coal.
Okay, we heard all this. And it doesn't look like the photos are linked up to what he's saying.
Right.
This image.
But yeah, I mean, it sounds like everything in this video is something we talked about in the
Yeah.
article.
There is another video of the witnesses that we have that we can watch as well.
Nice. I also like that in the first video we watched when they're doing they've got the translator doing the voiceover for the part speaking in Russian. They've got someone to do a Russian accent while reading that. I thought that was a nice touch.
I think Russian TV does that too.
Yeah.
All right, so this is from Eyes on Cinema. I think he grabbed it from Discovery or something. Yeah, Discovery Science.
Wow.
Flames.
It is red and orange.
She has a Russian accent.
It changes color at different times.
Oh, no, she doesn't.
When it is rising, it becomes brighter, and when it is falling, it gets darker. When it climbs, rays of light come out of it.
It happens on the 29th of January 1986. We see a strange object. It is bright yellow. It looks like the sun. It is traveling parallel to the ground. A single large beam of light comes out of it. Then it disappears over the hill.
I don't hear any explosion and I don't see any flash. Yet after it goes up and down several times, it vanishes over the hill.
A final question. What do you think it was? Any idea?
A UFO.
Subsequent searches find the impact site. Mysterious materials, balls, gauzes, netting are removed from the hillside. They remain in the hands of national science academies. Local scientists have only small samples. Over 3 years, they compile a 300-page study. Its author points to anomalous features of the case.
At the crash site, I found bits of magnetized flint and about 300 grams of different materials. After the crash at height 611, there were many UFO sightings over Dalnegorsk. Discs, balloon shapes, single lights. It looked as though they were looking for something because they had searchlights. This searchlight was very interesting. It only lit up what it touched. It had no visible beam. Everything leads me to believe that this object was made by highly intelligent beings and was of extraterrestrial origin.
The metallic wreckage contains extraordinary levels of elements, purer than on Earth, he says. The net-like material is quartz insulation round gold wires, thinner than a human hair. What came from the sky is, he argues, not something made here, but part of the guidance system of an extraterrestrial probe. No other Russian researchers have published their findings or released any of the material.
A few miles away from Vladivostok, near the small mining town of Dalnegorsk, a UFO crashed on this hill.
Right, I think this is the sighting one, which we listened to. Man, it's crazy. So they haven't released any. Oh, they're obviously studying it, and we know the Russians are just as advanced as we are,
and they're just as secretive as we are, if not more so. So
yeah,
be thankful for the stuff that we have, but I'm sure there's many more cases like this in Russia. Yeah, I don't think people understand how big Russia is. It's not densely populated, the whole thing, but it's a very large country. And a lot of it is just uninhabitable because it's, freezing.
Yeah, so this is a crazy case, especially that it has physical evidence. I mean, you can't, when it comes with physical evidence, especially in those days, you can't really argue against, what it is. And you have all the witnesses in the town that saw this happen, that went up on there. It obviously crashed because they saw it fall, and they heard a boom. They saw the burning.
Yeah,
but there was nothing. There was no debris, so it obviously took off after that.
It must have been far enough away, because I have to imagine people would be going, regardless or not, if you think it's a UFO. If something crashes up in the mountains, you want to go see it. Help people, or do whatever you got to do. But I have to imagine that it was far enough away where people were just like, we can't take care of this.
Yeah, I tried seeing it on Google Earth. It's not like it looks like it's not completely rendered, but the mountain does show an area close to the top where there's no vegetation, nothing till today.
Wow.
Yeah, my browser kept giving me an error. But yeah, so that part of it is no trees, nothing. So it might have slid up when it crashed.
Yeah, interesting.
And here's another one from Russia in 1984. This is in space though. In 1984. In 1984, 6 Russian cosmonauts aboard the Salyut 7 space station reported a remarkable sighting of what they described as giant, glowing, angelic beings outside their craft. Initially, 3 cosmonauts, Vladimir Solovyov, Leonid Kizim, and Oleg Atkov, witnessed these winged humanoid figures, which were estimated to be 80 to 125 feet tall, and surrounded by radiant orange tinged light. Days later, after being joined by 3 additional crew members, Vladimir
you don't have to go. I mean, go ahead. But
Snabikov, Svetlana Savitskaya, and Igor's nice, Volk, all 6 cosmonauts observed the same phenomenon. The beings appeared to have peaceful, smiling faces and radiated an overwhelming sense of serenity and awe. The sighting lasted for about 10 minutes and left the crew deeply affected, describing it as a spiritual or otherworldly experience.
Yeah, so it's really common for astronauts to see, not necessarily this, but just see weird things that can't be explained. I think every astronaut we bring back down to Earth, it always comes out years later, but they always talk about how they've seen some crazy stuff outside.
And that's spiritual too.
Yeah, one of the funniest ones. I don't remember the name of the astronaut, and I'm pretty sure he was American, but he always talked about he would see snakes outside in space, and it's just such a
That's
weird.
right.
It's just such a weird thing.
Like
But I mean,
these worm things.
this is crazy. I mean, this is 80 to 125 feet tall angels outside. That's nuts, man.
Here's an animation of it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I would be losing my shit.
Yeah, it'll definitely become spiritual after that. That's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
So while Soviet officials reportedly classified much of the information surrounding the incident, theories range from psychological stress or hallucinations induced by prolonged space travel to atmospheric optical illusions, or even genuine encounters with higher dimensional or extraterrestrial beings. For some, the events suggest that spiritual or angelic entities may manifest in the physical realm, particularly in the unique conditions of space. The story remains a fascinating and mysterious case.
Now, I do think there's something to part of this. I don't think humans were supposed to be outside of our atmosphere, right?
Yeah, right.
Our brains are just not wired that way. We're monkeys. We're literally monkeys that crawled out of the ocean a couple 100,000 years ago. So when you go into space as a human being, a terrestrial being, you just start seeing stuff because your mind cannot comprehend what the hell is going on around you.
Yeah, and there's
Maybe maybe I'm not giving humankind enough credit, but I think there's something to that.
Yeah, and now they talk about plasmoids, and that these plasmoids are intelligent. So these things could be also the same thing, especially in space. It's easy for plasma.
The wild thing is they said that they were able to see their faces and that they looked like they were smiling. That's not, I don't think that's a plasmoid thing. You know what I mean?
I'm saying like because they can change shape, like they're intelligent. These plasma things are intelligent.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So it was Chris Bledsoe who said it was the Russians that reported the 125 tall angels, according to Taylor. I like Chris Bledsoe. No, I didn't like him before that much because he was too religious, but he's changed now. He said he's not religious anymore. He's spiritual, and he believes that religion is, like dungeon programming. So it's good he's coming along, because anyone looking at the world right now just sees how much war is going on over religion, and who's right and who's not. Who's evil, and it's always this good and evil. We're fighting against evil. We're the good, so let's blow them up.
Every single time. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we can get into the UFO news, which there was a lot last week as well. There was a bunch of whistleblowers, quote unquote, that came out on News Nation. And there was that guy in 4chan. I guess
yeah, he's got the receipts. I mean, that's just fanatical. It's wild.
It is. He even leaked a video.
See, I'm not quite sure what this video is or what it's supposed to be.
So this is isn't it in Antarctica? And it even matches, like it's over the Queen Elizabeth mountain range or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's even you can't if you go on Google Earth, you can see it, but you can't zoom in or anything. It's like it's blocked, it's scrubbed.
So is this a satellite that's taking the video?
It's a helicopter. So same thing like Jake Barber, and there it is. It's dangling. There's that.
Now that's supposed to be the UFO that's peeking in and out there, huh?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, the egg-shaped UFO. So apparently, this guy is part of a crash retrieval team. This happened in 2022, and they found this egg-shaped object in a cave in the mountain, and that there was a being there. It's bizarre, the whole case.
There was even an audio clip of someone interviewing the alien. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sold on that part of it, but the guy if it's a hoax, he did a lot, went through a huge effort to make this a fun thing for all of us.
Yeah. Who are you? Next question. Where did you get this video? Antarctica, November 2022. Did you take the video? No. Why does it look extremely similar to the News Nation video? Same civilization and same purpose. why now to release this? I can't answer that, of course.
Okay, so just a huge disclaimer up front. 4chan is, it's kind of like the grossest part of the internet, quite
Oh, yeah.
frankly.
Mhm.
But there are real things that have leaked there before.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's also a whole bunch of horse shit that has been posted there and
Absolutely.
and used as fact previously. So
He
this-
even starts saying he's a LARP, right?
yeah, he it's a joke up front. He says, "I'm totally making this up," but then he drops all of this stuff, and it was credible enough that everyone's reporting on it.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's something to this.
Yes. So he continues. He goes, seems to be of ancient origin. There's no way of getting inside of it, but it doesn't seem to be hollow. It's not that heavy. The material is unknown, but it is some kind of metal.
He worked for the DoD, not in the same task force as Jake Barber. He says it seems to be of ancient origin. There's no way of getting inside of it, but it doesn't seem to be hollow. It's not that heavy. The material is unknown, but it's some kind of metal. What was found inside the cave was more like a military base than a quote-unquote civilization. I don't know what these non-human entities were doing. The place was abandoned. He says the UN Office for Outer Space Affairs, ANUSA, is that a real organization?
I don't know. Wait a minute. Should I look for it? UNUSA? Any UN thing is going to be. I don't think they have. Do they have classified stuff? No. Oh, yeah.
So it's a real organization?
Wait a minute. Yeah, it is.
No kidding.
Yes,
Well, you learn something
it's a
every
UN
day.
organization. Here it is. United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs.
Well, according to the 4chan leaker, that's who recorded this. Are you back on the screen? Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah.
What were you doing in Antarctica? Retrieving ancient artifact or technology. We found a live, non-human sentient being within a coffin-like pod. It doesn't use cryogenics, but it has kept the entity alive.
Well, all right. Next. I mean, he actually answered a lot.
He did. That's why, this kind of stuff is taken with a grain of salt, but this guy came, prepared.
Yeah.
What is the provenance of this video file? The video was recorded by ANUSA. Antarctica is a no man's land, so this was a quote-unquote team effort. The pilots were American, but most of the scientific and archaeological teams were European.
Yeah, I mean, we know the secret is that they've always said it's international in scope.
Yeah. Didn't get any more pictures, doesn't have any proof. The creature was found in a pod. Did you look at it? And he says, I have photos of them. They are tall, 8 feet tall, white long hair and a human face, yet there is something off. The entity is alive and recuperated quite fast from their quote-unquote sleep. Queen Elizabeth Range Mountains, is that where you were? Yeah. Got any word on other whistleblowers? No, but I wouldn't trust most of the ones you see in those Congress streams. There are two groups, as most of you know here. One wants disclosure, the others don't. Let's just say the others are presenting you with BS. You're getting more info here now. Did you interact with it? No, but I spoke with someone who did. The entity learns quite fast. They learned English and German in less than a week. Huh.
I mean, if they are intelligent, they
Very
would be able
intelligent.
to learn. And there's more. This is from Red Panda. Koala.
We are male and female creatures. Would you say that they are attractive? The ones we have in Europe, is male. I'd say they are attractive. They are attractive features, strong chin, blue eyes, white blonde hair, and so on. So they're talking about the, of the 12
Tall whites.
It's not the tall whites.
Nordic.
Nordic. Thank you. That's the one I was
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
What were they wearing? This one was naked when we found him. Any symbols on the craft or anything? No symbols on the egg. Nothing. Inside, we did find some things with. Sorry,
With
I'm trying to.
symbols.
Inside, we did find some things were symbols, but this is as far as I can go. Sorry. Well,
It's
that's
weird he says that there's no symbols on the craft because there's other leaked ones, right, that came
I
out.
was just about to say that. Yeah, some of the pictures of the egg show that there's symbols on the outside of it.
Yes.
Did the being have human-like genitals? Yes and no. The penis is similar to that of a human. We do have photos of it, of course, but the tip is similar to that of chimpanzees.
What
The
does that
scrotum
mean?
is just like ours. I don't know, but I'm not going to Google chimpanzee penis.
Okay. I mean, it gets read.
Did he talk through vocals or telepathy? He can do both, yet the second form only works with some of our teams. Some of the people who've interacted with him didn't listen to his telepathic communication in their heads. According to him, it has to do with acceptance.
All right,
That kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
How does the voice sound? According to the astrobiologist I spoke with, the voice sounded just like your own. It's strange. He basically said, it sounds like when you're thinking a monologue.
All right.
Can you let us know anything he said? Many things. He was born here 700 years ago. He says the closer we got to understanding God was the Corpus Hermeticum.
Hermeticum, yeah, that's the
What is that?
Hermes Trismegistus. That's an ancient book. Thoth, basically. Those. You ever read the Book of Thoth?
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah, so it Thoth is he basically ascended to God and through the angels, and he depicts how he got there and his experience, and it's a pretty old book. I think ancient Egypt.
Well, here's a huge shocker coming from the alien. He considers us selfish and childish.
Oh,
We get a new
yeah.
book, Mr. Alien. We've all heard this from every single alien that's ever been
Seriously.
contacted. They're so high and mighty, these aliens. He says we were happier during his time. Can't tell you more than this. Their race saved us millions of years ago. Here we go again, Mr. Savior Alien. Better than us, but they're saving us. And yada,
Right,
yada,
yeah,
yada.
right.
Their race saved us millions of years ago from our creators, who basically engineered us to serve them.
The Anunnaki thing.
Yeah, Earth should be treasured. It's a miracle.
Yes, it is.
What about their origin, culture? Blah, blah, blah. We're still trying to understand their origin. His notion of space and time is different from ours. They came here as space missionaries. Mormons, great. Space,
We need more of those.
Yeah, definitely. When they arrived, another advanced race was already here. This other race created Homo Neanderthals.
Neanderthals, basically.
To serve them and to help take Earth's resources. However, it was a failure, and Homo sapiens were created later on. This guy doesn't speak English very well.
Yeah, he's German, apparently.
Yeah.
When
the space missionaries arrived, they entered into a war with the other race to save us. Since then, that's just a convenient excuse. That's just like invading Afghanistan.
To save them?
Yeah, to save them. Mission accomplished.
To bring them democracy.
Yeah. Since then, they've been protecting us. In fact, back in 1975, they stopped a nuclear war. Not the
75.
Not the Bay of Pigs.
No, because that was 60 something.
They couldn't.
Right?
Yeah, I know. I'm saying they couldn't step in then. Anyway.
Right. Like, what happened in 75?
I don't know. The other race, according to MC, represents what we could have become if we don't, or we could become if we don't change. Advanced oppressors with no spirituality to guide us.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, their last conflict here on Earth occurred in 1561 during the celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg. Yeah, I was just about to say 1561 was when that sighting was so cool that they painted it.
That's a well-known one. Was that over Switzerland or Germany? Or Nuremberg, Germany?
Nuremberg, yeah.
How can I be sure this is not a LARP? It's up to you to decide. I know that I have what I have and what I shared. Also, what do you think of Luis Elizondo? Is he a massive grifter or saying the truth? Isn't he the one claiming aliens are demons? I wouldn't trust fundamentalist Christians pretending to be whistleblowers. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say fair enough. Fair enough.
Any questions you would ask other whistleblowers, leakers? No. Those who are telling the truth belong to the same team. So he's saying he's for his team. We already know what is to be known. I wouldn't want to ask anything from the others who are not part of my system, because everything they would tell would be either disinformation or lies mixed with truth. I mean, he could be doing that. There is an internal conflict within the government between two factions. Let's just say I support the idea of human knowing, once again, that we are not alone, that the gods are out there. Got any code word we can Google? What is known is already known, and what is not known is not on Google. You'll get more info from books, even those from antiquity, like Plato, Timaeus. Yeah, I want to reread the Greek philosopher books again, because they were witness to when they were here. Right? The gods were actually here. I don't think they were just making them up. I think they were being messed with by other intelligent beings.
Yeah.
Were these creators of Neanderthals the Anunnaki? Anunnaki was a human given name, but yes, the myth was born from that event. The entities that created us were, according to the one in the Antarctic cave, selfish, devoid of spirituality, materialistic, and parasitic. Sounds familiar. They are still around, with some of them remaining in underground areas. The conflict between these two groups has given rise to the many myths in the human mind: Prometheus, Divas versus Asuras, Satan versus Yahweh, and so on. Why are they always hiding? They come from a culture where each sentient being must walk alone and, as he put it, be initiated through their own suffering. He claims they hide because there was a time when they were always with us, but we didn't evolve, we didn't develop, we were like children, and apparently we still are. Although he has been asleep for many years, he has maintained contact with the others through unknown means. He tells us that something big is happening this year. How many times have we heard that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Get a new script.
I know, man. Like, at least make a joke about it.
Yeah.
You know? Are there more recovery missions? He's by this ANUSA directive. Hey, can we like FOIA ANUSA? Or is that
I don't think it applies, right? FOIA is just for US stuff, and UN is
it's
not
UN.
US.
Yeah, he said the pilot was American, but if he was working for the UN, then we can't do anything about it. Maybe that's why they use the UN. What are the protocols for securing crash sites? Are private contractors involved, or is it exclusively handled by government agencies? Securing a crash site, especially one involving a UAP, is tightly controlled by government agencies. Military units establish a perimeter, assess hazards, and prevent unauthorized access. Private contractors may assist with logistics or technical support, but work under strict government supervision and NDAs. Communication is heavily encrypted, and materials are quickly transported to secure facilities. Nothing new here.
Yeah. What are the primary concerns in retrieval, security? Blah, blah, blah. The primary concerns in retrieval include ensuring the crash site is contained to prevent unauthorized access and securing any sensitive materials. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
There is also significant focus on preventing contamination, as objects could pose biological, chemical, or radiological risks. Specialized teams are equipped to handle these hazards while protecting personnel in the surrounding environment. Another concern is the possibility of retaliation, either from the origin of the object or from adversarial groups seeking to exploit the situation. Maintaining secrecy and operational control is essential throughout the process. I mean, that's just standard operating procedures.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing new there.
Damn, he went on for a while.
Yeah. I'm going to breeze through this and see if there's anything.
Okay.
Big cave. He jokes about not being suicidal. Base was underground, no tech, only the egg and the pod that the entity was sleeping in. There was a strange metallic box containing a few tomes or books in language which seems to be a mix of Sumerian and Proto-European. We're still analyzing it, but the entity refuses to give us any detailed description.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah. Wow, Nibiru makes it into the. Does the Nibiru or Planet X myth hold any water as the home of the Anunnaki? It's a myth. The creators come from an unknown place. According to the entity, they destroyed Mars' civilization during a war also, all because Mars refused to be annexed into their empire. What happened to Mars was told time and time again. What happened to Mars was told time and time again by our saviors to our ancestors, which is why Mars is seen as a planet of war and blood in many ancient cultures. Our creators were destructive. We're not that different, really.
No, we're not.
Are they the hidden ones in control and manipulation of the Earth hierarchy? They are. Dwight D. Eisenhower alliance is real, and instead of accepting those who didn't want to really help us, he went with the creators. He and other leaders traded civilians for small tech leaks.
Weird. Trump is, he says he wants to denuclearize. So, I mean, you think he's like...
I think he's a very loud, boisterous man who got elected president. I don't think he has any agenda other than furthering his own.
But denuclearization would be great,
Oh, for sure.
If it does happen.
Yeah.
Would you comment on what lies are being told by other factions? Aliens are not demons. There are no remote viewers finding UAPs. Bullshit. There are no alien dead bodies. Bullshit. All are alive and work with us because they want to. Some because they want to continue with the abduction project, while others, like those working with us, want to see us flourish. If they want to leave, they would, and we couldn't stop them. They're hiding, and if we had dead bodies, believe me, they would fetch them in a heartbeat, whatever we wanted. Okay, all right, I can believe that. Maybe we did have them, and then they just come and take them.
Yeah,
they're not surrendering the UAPs to us. These civilizations are millions of years old, and we're ants compared to them. Most retrievals are from ancient machinery, abandoned basically. They don't crash per se, although during their conflicts in deserted areas, we might find crashed ones.
That's an interesting. There's a good story in there.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's been told before, but Earth is the home of, is essentially an old battlefield, and that's what we're coming across. Is we're coming across the remnants of said battle. Whenever that happened,
right.
Hundreds of thousands of years ago. Yeah, I feel like someone could write a short story or a book about that.
Yeah, even the asteroid belt there, right? They said that was once a planet and was destroyed.
Yeah.
Defense plans in place. Potential. Was there ever even any hostile encounters with these things at all? They are shootable. They're mortals, but their spiritual and psychic power is so no words. If you point a gun at them, they could probably force you into shooting yourself in the head. This seems like something out of a movie, but it's real. We tested it without guns, of course. The entity explained that we're all connected, therefore I can tap into you and you into me.
These aliens are hippies. They saved us. They're better than us, and they're extremely spiritual. Cool stuff.
Do you know if the drones and orbs we're seeing are related to this egg or pod tech you've encountered? Some are eggs, other are orbs. The so-called Foo Fighters. All right. What else is this guy? We read this one. Some of these are. All right, that's it. So, and then we have a link to it. But then there are the pictures that came out. And here are the pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, see, it looks like crap.
I swear I saw a higher definition picture somewhere. That must be the coffin, or is that the coffin with the books in it?
Yeah.
You'd think, I mean, unless this was like a camping trip for this alien, you'd think they'd have a little bit better place to park their stuff instead of just in a cave in Antarctica. You know what I mean?
Unless you want like an advanced species to find you or something, because it is really remote, right?
Yeah, that's true.
This is what 4chan did.
Wait, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the story. So I want to make sure I get this right. So they were flying over the Queen mountain range in Antarctica. They saw this egg-shaped craft, and did they follow it to a cave?
No, no. This thing has been there for a very long time. I think satellite, whatever. Saw something anomalous in the mountain, and they're like, "Let's go find out what that thing is."
Okay, so the UFO video we played at the top of this 4chan leak is completely separate from finding this egg in the cave.
No, it's not. So because they grabbed it out of here. Oh, that's your. No, I thought you said that they saw it and followed it.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
they didn't follow anything. Like nothing came from the sky and went to the cave.
No, this doesn't make any sense. So they're flying a helicopter through the sky. They see a UFO. How is this? What do you mean? No, we saw a video of it.
They were pulling it up. It was on a tether. It was on a tether.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I totally
just like the Jake Barber
video. I thought I didn't realize it was swinging underneath. I thought this was supposedly the UFO was like peeking in and out. Okay. I didn't realize.
Yeah, no, it's already tethered. See?
Oh, I was wondering.
The mountain is way in the background.
No, I got that. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought that video was they captured it flying.
Oh, gotcha. No. Yeah. So they had to go into the cave and then they brought it out.
Got it.
With the being too. So here's the hieroglyphics. When he said there was no, although these are not hieroglyphics, this is called hieratic numerals.
Yeah, but it looks like there's something on the outside of this egg.
Yeah. So
the egg is a craft?
I guess it must be.
Huh.
And and these are Egyptian, by the way.
Yeah.
It's because there's hieroglyphics, and then there's these. These are like shorthand for hieroglyphics. They put them on papyrus.
I'm looking at not the helpful chart that was provided here, but I'm looking at the actual egg. I think it's a little bit of a reach to call those drawings. I can kind of just see that being the outside. It's just like, whatever. It's like if you look at your walls when it's painted, you might see some designs in there. That doesn't mean they're hieroglyphic. Well, that's a little bit more definitive.
There's some indentations.
Yeah. I was going to say
he wasn't really lying because they're not really hieroglyphs.
Yeah. Huh.
And then this guy, who I like him, he's good. He analyzes all these leaks that come out. And he analyzes. It turns out to him, actually, that it could be real.
Yeah, I watched through this, and he does some good analysis.
And it is taken off the screen, right? You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is bizarre.
All right, let's get to the pictures that came out. This was posted on 4chan, and the story behind it is just some anonymous person threw it out there. It basically says, it's all going to come out anyway, so I don't really care. Is really the tone of everything. He said he was LARPing during this, but honestly, all of his answers more like, I just don't care, right? If they catch me, they catch me, is the feeling that I got from it. I want to read through it again to see if I can get more of a sense of that. But that was, kind of where I felt it was going and kind of coming from. But even if he was LARPing, I got to tell you, this is extremely interesting stuff. These two images are completely tied together, and they have something not unique to folks who have experienced seeing an object up close and firsthand. Number one, in this right shot, you have what appears to be hieroglyphics on it, and I can probably estimate that it goes all the way across, and it's completely covered in them. Right? It's the fact of the matter is this is blown out from the strobe, and we're going to get into that a little bit. And then this is the same image, not the same image, same object in the same setting. So let's get right into that. Why do I know this is the same object in the same setting? If you look down here on the bottom right corner, you can see like a fan of stone pattern, and that same fan of stone pattern is over here. And then right here, there's like a little flute that's leaning off to the right and up, and the same flute is leaning to the off and right here as well. And along with that, the rocks hanging, the rock formations hanging from the ceiling match too. It's like 1, 2, and it's like on that angle there. It's the 1, 2, and it's on that angle there. This is behind that. The angle is different when they're taking this photograph. They've moved over to the right, so that puts this more behind these two right there. And then here's this one here, and here's this one here. So this is the same setting, right? The same object in the same setting. And the credibility of these eggs is slowly notching up, right? We've had 2 videos released, and why in the world? All right, let's not even go to why. Let's just talk about the pictures. This is, I've done photography for 40 years, right? Actually 38 years. I started when I was 12 years old. And so I know what to look for here. And obviously when I started back then, I did many years of film photography, and I believe this is film. And the reason that is because we have a light leak over here on the right. And this light leak gives us a very big piece of information. Huge. That right there is telling me that this is not fake. Right? It's not AI, because AI is not good at replicating the entire environment over and over again, at least not yet. So there would be some differences there. And whoever would do this, I can't imagine that they would think enough to put a fake light leak in the image. And this leak looks really good. I mean, this is what they look like, right? That is what they look like. That's when that happened to me. And it happened a lot. This is what it looked like. The source of the light, this is an off-camera flash. So this is not a pocket camera. This is somebody came in here with the intention of taking a very high quality photo. So somewhere on the planet right now, these photos exist and they are extremely high quality. So man, I'd love to see that. But yeah, so the strobe is high and left of the lens, and we can see that by the shadow here. And the shadow kind of looks odd because the terrain is coming in closer to the egg here, so it just closes in on the shadow, so it basically erases it from here in this section. All of the detail in the ground, everything that's facing left is hot, has hot light on it, and on the right you can see it's dark, so all indicating that the strobe is up and left of the lens. Over here, same deal, right? Up and left of the lens. It may be one of these, like, the old school contraptions where you had the camera here and the strobe was on a handle that was up and to the right. It could have been on a stand, but in looking at these, it might be on a stand. It looks like it might actually be separate, because this is a pretty deep shadow if from this distance, if the strobe was closer to the lens. So this is telling me this was really there may have been actually a stand or somebody helping hold it, or they were holding it with their hand up and high. The fact that this is blown out, right, tells me that it's, obviously there's the flash, and because they were so close to the object and they're running film, they probably had an ISO that was pretty high, knowing that they were going to be in a dark environment. And so they, it just blew it out with the strobe, right? You can only go so fast with the shutter with the older cameras to overcome this kind of intensity at that how close it is. And these are pictures of what appears to be, actually the guy said, or the anonymous person said, it was photos off of a laptop, and this makes sense. It looks like that to me. And just the patterning, right? That's what you expect to see when you take a picture of a laptop. So yeah, this is significant. These are honest to goodness images. I am like 99.99% sure these are real images of a real object somewhere in a cave. Now, what it is, what it's doing there, what are they doing there? That is a totally different question. All I can tell you is that what I'm seeing here is telling me these are real pictures. They were done on film, and somewhere on the planet there are some really crisp images of these that will show you all of the inscription on the egg, especially in this shot right here.
So weird. Have you ever seen, like, I remember going to see Egyptian, I think it was King Tut, in the museum, and a lot of, like, I would say 90+% of all the artifacts have writing on them. And they loved magic, right? They were obsessed with magic. Now, magic could be a technology. I mean, it could, I don't know what it was there for, but they do write things on objects to give them some kind of power.
Yeah. That's something that, it's all over the fantasy fiction world. But all that stuff comes from someplace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then there's the interview, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this one, but it's fun.
It's fun. So he released this. He's saying that he didn't release it, that someone else released it, and they came into his house and killed his dog or something. It gets weird. But he's talking to this being, and it's funny because when he says Egypt, he says Egypt, which is how, like, modern Egyptians say the letter G. They don't say G, they say G.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was funny, and he's got that same accent too.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, so the guy's German. I guess that's why he's got an accent, and then he's
Sure.
interviewing the entity.
How old is the vessel, as you call it? You call it the vessel. We call it the hex shape.
It was built by my people 3,000 years ago in the land you once called Chem.
Yes, he's saying Chem.
Chem.
And Chem is Egypt, in the ancient world, which comes from that's where you get chemical from too.
Right. Khem.
Yeah, Khem.
Where is Kemet? Hold on. Fuck's sake. Okay, here, in the phone, where in the map is
The
Kemen?
one that says Egypt.
Oh, okay,
Egypt.
Egypt.
This
Okay, I
one
see.
here.
Okay.
All right, so here the description goes, this interview has a few things you need to know about. One, the interviewer's voice has been manipulated for his safety, hence why the voice sounds strange and has audio crackle. The interviewer and entity will address each other as SES sometimes, which is a gender neutral word for brother sister. Remember, this race uses no names. The interview took place in Germany, not in the US. And we'll link up the entire interview for people that want to look at it.
Yeah.
But the egg shaped is in antiquity. It's in the occult. In the occult, they say that the universe, the cosmos, is an egg. They also say that the Earth, and some say that the whole concave Earth thing is that we're inside the Earth, which has the cosmos inside of it. That's also part of the occult. There's this story also. And someone put a video together of ancient aliens about egg-shaped, and it's pretty long. And there's many episodes for ancient aliens, and they mentioned egg-shaped so many times.
Yeah, it's a very common. Many cultures have seen egg-shaped UFOs for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It is the shape itself. It's strong. It's aerodynamic. It does protect what's inside. I mean, that's why nature uses it, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So this was from antiquity. An egg of wondrous size is said to have fallen from heaven into the river Euphrates. The fishes rolled it to the bank, where the doves, having settled upon it and hatched it, out came Venus, who afterwards was called the Syrian goddess.
Doves?
Higgins the Egyptian.
Doves?
Doves.
You mean doves?
Doves. So who was afterward was called the Syrian goddess, and that's Higgins the Egyptian. Egypt. Welcome to Egypt. Moving on, we have another whistleblower that came out at the same time as Barker. Sorry, this guy's Barker as Barber. He was.
When you do play this, remember to stop after 45 seconds.
Well, no, it's okay if it's on Twitter, which is
okay.
why. Yeah, it's just the YouTube thing. So annoying.
Should we read the post before playing the video?
It's a what do you call it?
Transcript. Okay.
Yeah, it's a transcript. So this is Fred Barker on News Nation. Hello, News Nation.
The best place to get your news. Nowhere else.
But to play it safe, maybe we should stop after 30 seconds.
Maybe,
yeah. Oh my God, it's the mothership. He said he's only seen it 2 other times. And I turned around, and that's when this massive triangle was in the sky. And please don't ask me to figure out how big it was or how far away it was. It was just, it was huge.
Like hundreds of feet?
For sure. Probably more. It was
football field size?
Bigger.
Multiple football fields?
For sure.
Wow.
They need to fix their mics. Hey, News Nation.
Yeah.
I'm hearing Ross off camera. I mean, off mic.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, these guys, this is firsthand witnesses, right? And they're part of a crash retrieval team. That's what this guy is part of.
Oh. How far away?
I couldn't tell you. I had already been shocked and awed with this one little thing. And then now they presented this massive thing with other little things going on as well.
Like what?
So the triangle itself, it was moving west to east very slowly. The lead point of the triangle was very bright with the 2 ends dimmer.
Sounds like what always happens, right, with these big ones. You have those lights at each end. I mean, he said 2 football fields.
That's massive. Yeah, that's pretty big.
I imagine. And people are asking, like, why don't you take out your phone? He's like, I was shocked. It's not the first thing I think of. He goes, now I will,
Right.
So apparently these were summoned as well. He was with a psychic who said that they're coming.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So there are lights.
Correct. There are lights on each of the points.
Do they glow?
No, they remain the same brightness the whole time. They were white with a little hint of orange in there, but mostly white.
Is there a light in the middle? Sometimes on the triangles, a light in the middle.
No, there was nothing in the middle.
Noise?
No noise. It had little minions, if you will, flying all around it.
Orbs?
Yep.
Did you say minions?
That's what I heard.
So I guess those orbs are probably protecting them in case something happens.
Yeah, protecting them, or who knows? Impossible to guess.
I mean, I would have learned a lesson, especially if we've been shooting them down for so long.
Right.
And it seems now we're just summoning them instead of shooting them down, which is
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, which is it shows that we've evolved a bit.
As long as we're not summoning them to shoot them down, I think we're good there.
Yeah.
Orbs. It would have been the same orbs we see all night that just kind of float around the sky. Sometimes they pulse, sometimes they just remain the same and move. Same ones, but now they're spiraling around this thing.
So, really interested to ask, did you at that moment, obviously, I think I would have had a feeling of awe, but did you have a sense of some kind of psychic contact with the object?
I mean, I don't know, because I was so paralyzed with what I was seeing. I just
Man, you can tell he's saying the truth, huh? He
Mhm.
just, man, I don't know what I saw.
just could not, again, saying out loud, how do you fake this? I could not comprehend what I was seeing.
It was a solid object?
Yes.
Okay, let's think of the skeptical debunker arguments. Could it have been some kind of temperature inversion in the air? Was it a cold night?
It was a cold night.
So was it a clear night? Could you?
It was absolutely.
I like how Ross still, he knows that there's debunkers out there. People are going to be, trying to shoot this down, which is good. So he tries to go through it with him. Could have been something else.
Clear, yes.
So is it possible that what you were seeing was some kind of optical illusion?
If it was, we were sharing it. There were two of us that shared that optical illusion.
Your colleague, the psionic assist, had told you that it was coming.
Yes. Throughout the night, he said, "This is a good sign."
So they've introduced a new term. So instead of psychic, now it's psionic, right?
Of course. Yeah, always got to throw new terms in there. I mean, we're talking about UAPs now instead of UFOs. It's same dealio.
And it probably makes sense because a lot of those terms have baggage because of this misinformation campaign that we've had for 80 years. When you say psychic or you say UFOs, everyone just giggles because it's been made fun of for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So full interview is on News Nation. You guys can check it out with him. And then there was this guy also on News Nation just yesterday. His name is Dr. Blitch.
Blitch?
He talks about a mantid being that he saw, I guess, in his bedroom. He talks about other things too in the interview. It's really good. But
those are
this
typically the worst ones. Those are the aliens you don't want to see, the mantids.
Yeah, but it's interesting what he says here. We're gonna have to pause it every 30 seconds. So
one day you might actually get the opportunity to meet your abductors.
I already did. A tall, 7-ish foot praying mantis looking being
Woof.
was upset with me. And
so the mantids, I mean, we should probably go through like in the UFO lore what they are and who sees them, and
they typically, you correct me if I'm wrong, but they're the ones that seem to be in charge.
Yes.
And they really, really don't like humans. People who have reported being abducted by the mantids, they always come back like PTSD horror stories. In fact, when we covered the Coronado group abduction that happened in the 90s, the woman who had the worst go of it, her claim under hypnosis was that the aliens look like mantises, and she was tortured.
I'm getting shivers. Oh my god! Does that mean I saw them?
I don't know, but they're really like the Nordics are technically the kind, good ones that you want
Right.
to see. Typically, they'll have sex with you, but the mantids torture you, and they are very uncaring, if not downright hostile towards humans.
Interesting you say that. I think he mentioned something like that.
And was
this
chastising me.
This was during one of your abduction events.
This is right around the same time as this mountain bike incident. It was the environment.
Did you hear that? Was that a laugh that he did?
I thought so too. Yeah, something like
it was
that.
like a hat or something.
Environment that I thought it was in my bedroom on the third floor of a split level house, and it came through a sliding screen door. There was
Oh man, I can't believe this stuff is again. This guy came out with Barber, and with Barker as well. So he was in the army. He's a Green Beret. He's a doctor and he's not a psychologist. I think it's something to do with the brain. He analyzes brain waves. That's what he does.
There's a deck out there, 3 stories up, no stairs down. And just walked right through the door, standing over me. And again, I was terrified, frozen, paralyzed to the bed. And I got a male presence vibe from this being. And he's just looking at me very intently and explaining to me, look, this body that.
This is going to scare a lot of people, I think. I mean, you and I have read many books and have gone through a lot of cases, and we've dealt with. There's no shock,
right? We know the score.
I mean, this is on national television.
Yeah.
I can't imagine just people who are not into this,
right?
And older people with this guy. I mean, he's not crazy because and he was in charge of nukes. I mean, the U.S. government will not put him in charge of nukes if he's crazy.
Right.
And they're constantly looking at their psychology.
They're evaluating them all the time.
Yeah, constantly.
That you got. It is just a soul housing group. It's a brain housing group. It is just a machine that your soul occupies for this lifetime. And so, we're going to mess with it. We're going to get up under the hood and we're going to adjust the carburetor, right? I had just dated myself there. We may swap a couple of parts out, but we can't steal you. We can't.
Well, that's good. So, like you said, I guess the torture is, they don't really care. He's saying, like he's angry. He's like they're fidgeting and trying to get out, and
it's kind of like when we test lab rats. I mean, we're not outright torturing them, but to the rats, it must seem like torture.
Yeah, or even our own pets when we take them to the vet, or at least my pet. Like, man, she hates it, and I feel so bad, and I just don't ever want to take her.
Yeah,
because it is kind of an abduction. You put them in cages, and you take him over, and they get on a table, and it's good for them, but they don't.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Leave me alone, kind of thing. I don't know if I would do good. I've learned to get out of paralysis. I haven't had one in a while now, but I've learned to just snap out of it. And if it ever happens with these guys, they're not going to be happy. They're like, just stay put. Why don't they try to convince me to just stay put instead of putting me in paralysis?
But it's the same thing going back to the lab rats. You're not going to try and talk to the lab rat, right? It doesn't. You're there to conduct your tests.
Man, you're so right.
And it's the
if
same
I try
thing.
And talk to my cat, it doesn't give a crap. It's gonna kill me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or it thinks I'm trying to kill it too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yep.
Steal your soul. We can't steal your consciousness. So quit screaming and writhing around and let us do our frickin' job. And it's like the equivalent of a surgeon telling the patient, stop squiggling, just like the veterinarian to my Labrador Retriever. Hold him down, for crying out loud. I got to be able to check this tendon. And so I got that very.
What I do like though is that I don't know if it's true or not, but that they don't have access to our souls and conscience, which then makes sense when people say they invoke God or Jesus or the cosmos and they get left alone, because it's our consciousness that are trying to activate them. And like, all right, it's not worth it. Let's just get out of here, kind of thing.
Right.
What a strange event.
Definitely.
Condescending and vigorous instruction. But here's the thing. As proof, there was this image that he put him, and it was terrifying. His mandibles that were kind of behind like a casing or a shell opened up.
Oh no.
And he starts grabbing chunks of my cheek and he's ripping it. And there's
Yeah, I mean, this is straight up. This is what the mantids do. This is why you don't want to see the mantids.
Oh my God. That's just, I can't even imagine.
Blood spattering on the wall. and I'm
just see Ross's face.
Yeah.
He's like, huh?
I'm feeling the tug and I'm feeling this flesh, and the whole time he is conveying to me, see, we can't get your soul. We could do a lot of damage to your body if we want to. We don't. We're trying to help you. But this is how bad it could get. So stop squiggling around and let us get this done.
But get what done? I guess they're not going to say, or we won't get it.
I think, and one of the most common things that people talk about when they've been abducted by aliens is the aliens don't understand what the human soul is, and that's what they're trying to figure out.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. The aliens know they can't get to it, but because they're soulless, godless creatures of hell. Just kidding, aliens. That was tongue in cheek. It's kind of like, I mean, like, think about if it was a car or something. You go, this car's got a soul. You would take the car apart looking for wherever the soul was, but you can't find it.
They don't get it.
Yeah, you don't get it. So it's the same thing with humans. They see, okay, here's a bag of meat. It's got something that we can't find or access, and so let's dig around and look for it.
Yeah, where is that thing? Where is it? I can't find it. And yeah, that's what he's saying to him too.
Yeah.
Was that physical damage to your cheek real?
No, I felt the tugging, and I had the visual, again, a false fuzzy memory.
His interview is really good. We'll also link up the full interview. What's really cool is Jake Barber. They released the unedited interview. Did you watch it? It was really good.
I did not get through the whole thing, but I started it.
He's cool. He's a good guy. I really liked him. It's so much better than the overproduction that was done with the first interview. Yeah. Here's a clip out of it. What's this one? Oh, the toxic ingredients. He also said that you remember Mike Herrera?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said he thought they were drug running, and then Greer said no, they were trafficking and they were human trafficking. Barbara's saying no. He says we need to go to these remote areas because humans, they're away from like civilization like ours, are way more psychic and more in tune with nature than we are. So we go and we extract them, and they're happy to come because we take care of them, we give them great lives, So he's basically saying that there's not bad people in this program. Not all of them are bad, and that that they need these people to help them with summoning these crafts or talking to these beings.
I think most people could grasp the idea that perhaps people that are from other cultures, our culture leaves a lot to be desired when we look at the contaminants that exist in our.
Yeah, right. We know now with all this information coming out, I mean, the reason why we all voted for someone like RFK Jr. to join the government and HHS is to get rid of all these toxins that we have in our food and environment. So, he's saying that hampers us, and maybe that's done on purpose. Maybe not. I don't know. Profit alone is enough, I think, of an incentive.
Sure.
our food, contaminants that exist in our drugs, and contaminants in our culture. And some of these contaminants, it turns out, aren't great for your spirituality or your consciousness or your psionic abilities. And so those who live a particular lifestyle or live in a culture where they have a more natural or direct way of life with nature and their surroundings seem to.
I can get that. I mean,
Definitely.
like you're out there and say you're a farmer, or you live off the land, and you're always in communication with nature and with earth, and it's a much different. I mean, we're domesticated.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Who within those groups of people, there's a little bit higher demographic than there typically is for those with a psionic ability. So these people are sought out and are used to contribute to the research that might be going on with the psionic.
I want to put something to you.
Yeah.
I've spoken myself, you haven't told me this, but I've spoken myself to people of Native American background, Indigenous Americans, who say that this is a particularly popular thing for.
Yeah, Native Americans, their culture, they've always been in touch with star beings, they call them. Right? And we've always used them they're all over UFO movies as well, and documentaries.
Yeah.
I mean, do they still live off the land, or no? I think they've pretty much joined.
No, I mean, I'm sure some do, but where I grew up anyway, they were, they were just like anybody else.
Normal. Yeah.
Recruitment from the program to happen in Indigenous American communities.
Yes, I know that for a fact.
There are also people from countries in the third world where these abilities are recognized and not treated with stigma as we do in the Western world.
Yeah, there is no stigma. In fact, if there's any stigma, if you're the one who's not playing along, you might be the outcast in those cultures.
So the irony is that part of your discovery.
It's so funny. So many people are trying CE5 and meditation, and you just see all these posts, and it's not working for the vast majority of people.
Right.
Probably because the intentions are not pure.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of I think a lot of people use it. It should be like a form of meditation, instead of hey, come here, I want to see you type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Inside the program is that there genuinely are people who can actually make a mental, spiritual connection to a technology.
Yes, 100%.
Was that a revelation to you?
It was fun. It was actually fun to learn. It's one of the things in our work that was like, oh my gosh, there's more to life. It answered certain questions and intuitions, if you will, that we have going back to your.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. People, I think, are yearning for that. They, this whole
Absolutely.
materialistic, reductionist, view of the universe. It's just depressing, and it can't. And that's what I think it might be a problem with the West in general. Why we have so much. It looks like a decay in a way. It wasn't always like that.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Your childhood, and if anything, that were most present in your childhood, which is very satisfying because, something as a child, you have this particular feeling, and it kind of dies out as you become more mature and have to take on more responsibility. And so to be able to nurture that and accept that might be the case, and to see organizations as serious as those who we worked with taking this seriously was actually a heck of a lot of fun.
So his new organization is called Skywatcher, and basically what he said, he's like, listen, he's putting the legacy program behind him. He goes, yeah, there's bad apples there. Yeah, they're covering it up. He goes, I don't care. We are going to replicate what we did in the black world. They have funding. They're working with government agencies. In the interview, he doesn't say who they are yet. And they are going to summon craft, and we are going to have evidence, and they're going to bring it to us.
That's such a cool concept, man.
Yeah, he's like, screw it. We're just going to do it.
Yeah, why not?
That's how it should be anyway. It's not because it's not going to come from the government. It just isn't.
Right.
And
No, it never is. Yeah, no, it absolutely should be done by people like this.
And he's such a badass. He's like, what does he say? He's like, they should be afraid of me because Ross asks him, aren't you afraid? He goes, well, I do feel protected by the NHI. He's like, plus he goes, I'm your worst nightmare or something like that. He goes, you don't want to come after me. And
Well, he's
he
got
did.
those crazy eyes.
I know, look at him.
He
But him
looks
and
like
his
a
team,
guy that you don't want to go after.
right? They're warriors, absolute warriors. So I'm happy. He said DM, and there's something on the website too if you want to assist. I guess if you have psychic abilities or any way you want to help, he goes, just let us know and we'll see how you can assist, something like that. So fun, man.
We should contact him and just be like, listen, we have no psychic abilities, but we want to see UFOs real bad.
Exactly. Can we cover it all? Can we cover one of them? Just one of them.
We'll just listen. You guys do your thing. We'll do a podcast behind you, and then hopefully we get to interview some aliens.
So everyone's talking about CE5. So this Tom DeLonge experience came up. I don't remember hearing it.
Did we not cover this? I thought we covered this with him. Maybe not.
The one that he's in the desert?
I thought we did. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Do you? Oh, here, let me know. So it starts out with him in Rogan saying, "Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about it, but you can go back to one of my interviews."
Okay.
I think it's this one.
Way out to the what's known as the NTS or Nevada Test Site, you are the person who kind of told the entire world about the existence of Area 51. I mean, for anyone listening, if you know the term Area 51, George here is the one that taught you it. But that's not the only base out there. There's a lot of bases out there, and there's a few bases, out west of there, and one was called China Lake, and we were trying to get our way out there, but it was too far of a drive at the time, so we decided to pull off the road outside of China Lake, and we were probably 100 miles from any gas station. I mean, we were somewhere on the fringes of Death Valley, but all I know is that we were off-roading for quite a while until we found a valley to camp in, and so I've done it a few other times for fun, and we have to go backwards a little bit. There was an individual that was very prominent in the UFO field for a while, and he was kind of all the rage, and he came up with this whole concept that the UFOs themselves or any advanced civilization was going to speak to or communicate on the level of consciousness, the frequency of consciousness. They're not going to be using AM FM radios or whatever. So he had this whole concept that if you meditate and you do a certain protocol when you meditate, these things can show up, and I didn't know what to believe at the time, but I did meet a few professors from university that were working with this things and stuff, and I was like, really? You really? So we would go out there. I took a couple buddies out there, and we would have fun and not really be sober, but we wanted to try it out either. Nothing ever really happened for us. But on this camping trip, we said, let's do it again, and so you're not doing anything. You're in the middle of the desert. So we tried it. And I remember right before we start this meditative kind of the protocol, it's step by step. You got to do certain things. I remember telling them, okay, I don't think anything's going to happen necessarily. We should try this. But if anything does happen, it's going to happen at 3 a.m. And the two guys that were with me were like, why 3? I don't know. It's just what time it always happens. If you read about people that have like abductions, or if they have sightings, or anything that's weird at night with this phenomenon, somehow it always happens around that time, or a lot of the time it does. So we go through like a couple hours of this meditation, nothing happens. And then finally we're like, okay, it's time to go to bed, So we all cram into this tent in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we are in the middle of nowhere, and the fire's still going on outside the tent. So it's kind of all illuminated in there. So you get sleeping bags, right? Say a few dumb jokes, and we go to sleep. I wake up and I hear hundreds of people talking around the tent, like so many voices. I can't make out anything. It was a chorus of voices. Then all of a sudden this thought enters my mind instantly. Oh, it's just a bunch of special ops soldiers on some multi-day hike coming through our tent area. Everything's cool. We're good. And I close my eyes, open back up. The fire's out. A couple hours have passed, and I was like, what the hell was that? So I woke everybody up first thing in the morning, super early. And I was like, oh my God, did you guys hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear all those voices? And one guy was like, no, not at all. I slept fine. But the other guy was like, yes, I heard people talking all around our tent.
Wow.
Whoa, that's a fun one.
Yeah. That'd be scary. Especially, I love that how you just said, oh, it's probably like some special ops guys that did it, are coming through.
There is something to be said about the witching hour. He talks about 3 a.m.
Yeah.
What's witching hours? I know it's an hour, or the witching hour is like 2 to 4, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Which is when all the weird stuff seems to happen.
And it's probably because most people are asleep.
Yeah,
Right.
something like that. I don't know. Or just whatever. The Earth's energy is different at that time. Who knows?
Who knows? But it does happen a lot during that time. So this guy recorded a video. Astral is saying this might be the best UFO footage ever seen.
Cool.
Really cool. Yeah, really cool.
Now, when I saw this object, I immediately grabbed my camera, which is an infrared recording camera. I use a Canon SX60, which has been modified to record in full spectrum to see these other ranges of light that we can't see with our eyes. So once I put the camera on this big glowing light in the sky, all these smaller orbs were released from the object, which was just fascinating. And I'll add the first 3 objects that came out of this portal of light were in a triangular formation, which is very rare and also a commonality in these sightings for me.
Those triangle then formed like sort of a vertical line. It changed shapes too. So what was that display about? What was going on there? They were just trying to wow you?
I think it's just, I'm someone who avidly records these anomalies. I share them with the public, and I believe the more that you record them, the better the performances get. So in this case, I had been recording for about 8 or 9 years before I had this recording. And I just believe it wanted to share that moment with me on film, to share with the world. And then the more important point is this triangular formation of objects that came out at the beginning. I've had 3 other sightings that were also triangular formations, and that's a way for us to communicate with each other, to know that we are interacting, and it's kind of a basic form of visual display. Now, when
It's happening. It's happening.
I sure hope so. It's been too long of this whole "it's coming soon" type of
I know.
attitude.
And I'm glad it's happening through individuals, right? Independent individuals.
As we've known it was going to. I mean, like you said earlier, leaving it up to the government is a waste of time. Everybody's time.
Yeah, they just
They'll never tell us what's
gaslight
going on.
and gaslight and
Yeah.
gaslight. So here's another one. This guy, orbs dude. The orbs are the Tic Tac, he's saying. So
Huh.
yeah. How do I make this bigger? Oh, not very clear. I think he zooms in.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is. It could be just out of focus.
Yeah. But it does remind me of the jellyfish
Yeah.
UFOs we were covering a few months back.
Totally. I mean, that thing dangling down there is really weird.
I mean, it does look like a balloon. Can I just say that?
Yeah, totally. It does. Especially that it's not taken off.
Yeah.
I mean, even balloons reflect light that way, especially if it's like Mylar.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not great footage, but it is pretty compelling.
Yeah, and looks like that thing. Oh, and there's a plane.
Anyway, cool stuff. I hope more people post their UFO sightings online so I can look at them.
And this one is from Big Bear Lake. It was
Nice.
a guy. Yeah, he used a laser and it reacted to the laser.
Yeah, cool.
Started here and then he flew and curved down this way.
That's just the beginning of it.
Oh, here's another one right here. You see him? Flying right over our heads.
Cool.
Pointing it right at him. And now he's turning.
Nice back. Whoa, what?
Yeah, you see him?
Yeah, it just flashed.
I'm lasering or at him, and he's curving. Shit. Started here, and then
Clearly, a plane jumping around like that.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend pointing a laser at anything. I remember I did get a high-powered laser, and it would the first few pages in the manual was like, do not point at airplanes,
Yeah.
do not point at military because they will shoot at you. Like complete fear.
Yep, totally.
You know, I can't find a video of this. So this mayor claims, he goes in New Jersey mayor. It says these orbs. Yep.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
These orbs are glowing balls of light, and as it gets closer to you, it transforms into a drone. I've watched it myself.
Yeah, and the video was released. He actually released it, and I can't find it. It would be great to play it. But here he is on News Nation.
And spent some time with the videographer out of Long Island. I mean, he has orbs, these glowing orbs of light on camera that as you watch them right before your eyes, they seem to transform into a mechanical drone. So I've actually watched it myself where these orbs are glowing balls of light, different blinking lights all over the place. And as it gets closer to you, you actually see it transform into a drone. Whether it's a drone from the beginning and it's being obstructed by bright light, I can't tell you, but it is cause for concern. We have looked at flight tracker data. We don't see any airplanes in the skies. These things are absolutely some kind of phenomenon that's happening just over our homes. We need answers and we need them quickly.
Yeah, that's so important to note that, you are looking at flight tracker data and not seeing records of this. So, Mayor, are you confident that we will start to get some definitive answers, whatever those answers may be?
I believe we're going to get answers. Calls for speculation as to whether they're going to be definitive answers or not. Yeah. I do take the president at his word. I do think that we are going to get some kind of disclosure. I've listened to government speak. I've listened to our state, New Jersey, speak. I've listened to
oops, it's News Nation.
I think we're okay. Like you said, it's on Twitter.
Okay, I did find it. So
nice.
New Jersey mayor releases footage of orb UFO shape-shifting into fixed-winged craft. Here it is.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen this.
There's no audio. There it is. It's an orb. It looks like the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, could it be the light? Anyway, let's watch it. Oh, it's even reflecting. Ooh. No way.
Wow. Look at that. Looks like my mom must have filmed this, the way the camera's shaking around.
I know. I thought new camera
look at
is
that.
stabilized. What? A fixed craft.
That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. I mean, it could have just turned.
Yeah,
right?
turned. Right. Exactly. Because when you have like landing lights on, they're really bright. Well, I mean, Trump's supposedly going to find out and let us know what they are. I'm not. Who knows what he's going to say?
Yeah. Or he'll get assassinated, quote unquote, on accident or something. The day the day he's supposed to release the UFO files.
China. So Matt Gaetz has a new show on One American News.
All right.
He's on Congress anymore. So I think this is his first show, and he brought in Burchett. Yeah.
It does seem a lot of these UAP sightings are over water. Do you think there's anything to that and the basing concepts that you were laying out?
I do. When I've talked to people or their sonar people, and the way they hide it from us, Matt, they say it's because our sonar, I believe, I haven't been briefed on this. I'm just from what I'm putting together, but we have some secret sonar. But what's so crazy about it, like we're hiding it from the Chinese. Well, heck, Matt, the Chinese sold us the components for it. They know it's in our sonar probably better than we do. But when they tell me something's moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater, and our capabilities are, I don't think we have anything to do 40 miles an hour. And these things, this one was large as a football field underwater. And this was a documented case. And I have an admiral telling me this stuff. And it just, to me,
So that's where you think the bases are, is underwater then, because of those reports?
I do. I just think traveling light years, I think it happens. I think it's possible. the vastness of God's great universe. I mean, light years, the light from those stars that we see at night left there before the time of Christ. I mean, the vastness of God's great universe is unreal.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about them harming me. I mean, if they, with that capabilities, they would have barbecued us a long time ago, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Barbecued us. So when Trump did the executive order for the JFK files, Schumer retweeted it, or re-X'd is what they call it, and said, "Now do UFOs."
Hell yeah, Chuck.
Yeah. So
well, hopefully Trump follows through on this. I know everyone's champing at the bit. They want to know what the hell's going on in our skies.
Yeah, he's been doing great so far, but if the executive order for UFOs is not out yet.
I don't know if anything. Have you looked at the JFK files that were released? Was there anything good? Anything?
It was like 5 million pages, right? So not yet.
No smoking gun has come out quite yet. Wait, it couldn't have been that much, was it? Really?
I think so. Yeah, at least I saw a post like that. Was it 500,000 or 5 million? One of those two.
All to find out that JFK his head exploded on itself.
All by itself. Back into the left. Back into the left.
Back into the left.
Oh, I so that book that Stephen King did, is it fiction?
It's fiction. It's called 11/22/63. It is I think it's one of his best works, along with The Stand, as I was telling you. 11/22/63 is about the JFK assassination, but I won't say anything more. Okay. And I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love his books. I love his writing.
It's too bad he's so much of a douchebag.
No.
Oh wait, sorry, that's controversial. Stephen King, stand-up guy. There's nothing bad about him. Good guy, great guy.
I'll say it. He's got TDS.
He definitely does. And just for the record, you've read it, right?
Yeah. When I was
he dedicated like 5 pages to children having sex with each other. I mean,
what?
You've read it. You know how the story.
How come I don't remember that?
Oh yeah, man. It's weird. It's really weird.
Well, it makes sense because that's the path. The left path.
That is, yep.
So Eric Davis
who deny it, supply it.
Absolutely.
And that's a very controversial take that's going to get our episode taken down.
It was just a few seconds. No one's going to catch it. So the Seoul Institute, I think that's what they're called, did have an event just a couple days ago or yesterday, and Eric Davis was on there, very famous physicist, also part of the crash retrieval and other aerospace. So here is a great video where he confirms. Someone asked him, like, is it really aliens? Is it non-human intelligence? What is it? So
hell yeah, let's see what he has to say.
It's been pretty clear from people like Jim Lukatsky and President, 4-star Admiral, General, 3-star Admiral, Colonels, corporate vice presidents who've either been briefed on it directly or had worked on it directly, that it is of non-human origin. It's very clear. There's no ambiguity. So I talked to the program people themselves at one particular well-known aerospace company. And that was one of the things that gobsmacked me is this is not a myth. This is not people writing UFO books about the topic like Roswell Crash and Del Rio, Texas, and Lonnie Zamora and Bette Waters. There's a there. And these people are not dumb. They're not putting out BS. I was representing the Defense Intelligence Agency at the time, so they're not allowed to give me BS. And so definitely real. The descriptions I've received, foreign intelligence I've been exposed to involving this topic in foreign countries is pretty stark, including photographs I've seen, reports I've seen, and lab testing of materials that have been recovered.
Yeah, get over it, people. Get over it. You know, they just, I mean, I see those comments all the time And people just can't handle it. They still can't handle it even in 2025. And it doesn't matter what evidence or what people say, it's a psyop. Yes, there are psyops. Yes, and there are bullshitters out there, especially as part of these new whistleblowers, unfortunately, because they have an agenda.
Right.
Right. But it doesn't mean it's not true. And it's so arrogant to say that we're all alone or that they're too far. I mean, the universe, it's not 13 billion. I think it's 26 or 28 now after what James Webb Telescope has seen. So it's doubled,
Right.
And this planet, how old is this planet? 4 billion, 5 billion years old. So,
something like that. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's 5 times more time of civilizations to, advance and have the technology to just get here. And it doesn't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's the thing, like, if you took all the history of Earth since its inception to right up until this moment and converted that into a day, humans would have been on the planet like less than a millisecond or something.
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing. And even just being this advanced, it's only 200 years old or
Right.
even less. When Roswell happened, we didn't have microchips in the 40s. So you're talking about 80 years. Let's say 6 years with microchips and AI, and like we're still using radio. I mean,
Right. I mean, it's nuts though.
Yeah, exactly. If you can use consciousness, why would you want to use AM, FM, or microwaves?
Right.
Right. If you can instantaneously just think of something. So from the same event, he talks about what presidents were briefed. Also, Eric Davis.
Nice.
Do you know of a president who was briefed?
Who was?
Yeah. Do you have any insight?
Yeah, I know that Nixon and Reagan, and I believe that Kennedy was briefed, and I definitely know that Eisenhower was briefed. In modern times, Bill Clinton, no. I don't know. I think Bush Jr. Was briefed to some extent.
But let me stop you there. You just said Bill Clinton. You think he wasn't briefed on this?
Who?
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't briefed. He actually believed that his cabinet secretaries lied to him. That was not said to me. That was said to somebody else.
And may I ask you how you know that?
Say again?
May I ask you how you know that?
That's a private conversation between the person he told that to and myself, who was a former boss of mine.
Gotcha. Okay. And Kirk, do you have any thoughts about him?
Yeah.
So
Carter was definitely briefed. I have that directly from his last chief of staff, who I interviewed with another colleague of mine from NIDS.
So you just said you interviewed someone from the Carter administration.
Well, that was that one, yeah.
Who said that Jimmy Carter received a briefing on UAP.
And we have a document from Carter's library to that effect, that briefing took place and who attended it. I do know that Jay Stratton and his colleagues at the UAPTF did brief Trump, but they were briefing him on the UAP problem, not about the crash retrieval topic.
Yeah, because Trump doesn't care. I don't think he cares. He just wants to hear if there's a threat or something.
Right.
Or at least he acts like he doesn't care.
Well, you think UFO people wanting to know about UFOs is like the popular take, and Trump's trying to be the populist guy. I'm surprised it's not more of an issue for him.
Oh yeah, because he's surrounded by evangelicals, and they probably tell him it's demons. He's not. He definitely. I don't think he's ever read the Bible, to be quite honest. He doesn't give a shit. It gives him power, to be that way. But that's what I think it is. That the people surrounding him think this subject is bonkers or should not even be looked at.
Yeah.
There's a new documentary coming out, which kind of threw me off a little bit, and I'll tell you why after we watch it. It's called The Age of Disclosure.
Nice.
It does look cool, though, I gotta say.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists. UAPs are real. They're here, and they're not human.
I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP program.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
The 1-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
Huh. So look at that thing. It's rotated. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis. But that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
Oh, man. I want disclosure so bad.
Oh, wait, there's Lou. What's he going to say?
Buy my book.
No.
So, what is it? Oh, South by Southwest is going to be there.
Oh, cool.
Is that in Austin?
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's a big one, though. Cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be there, and then I guess it'll be available for rent or purchase. And yeah, but see, like James Clapper's in there, and he's NSA, right? He's head of NSA, and he totally lied to Congress about the spying program. And that irks me that he's part of this, because it kind of, like someone like Dark Journalist has said that all these guys coming out, it's an op, and there's an agenda there to push fear, and it kind of is too in this. It's showing that, what if China and Russia get it? Like, we need to just, I think that needs to end. Like all that type of thinking of hegemony and, who's going to rule the world. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the part that I don't like about it, But if they disclose there's other intelligence out there, that's awesome.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
And there is drama going on in UFO land. Speaking of Elizondo.
Of course.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So Arthur Preston, he doesn't have a huge following. 2,388 followers. He did a thread called this, which is this one.
Todd McMurtry.
Is it here?
Is a TDS rhino who failed his run for Congress and is now going around pretending to be Lou Elizondo's lawyer. According to Ivan Hanel, he has never even heard of you, and threatening lawsuits against me for my tweets critical of Lou. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And he did basically a thread, and I thought that's what this was, or is this the thread? No, but this is the letter that was written to him. And he's telling him to retract that thread that basically showed Lou in a very negative light, that it was a bunch of things, that he was in charge of ATIP but then changed his mind, or he was then part of OSAP or within a program within OSAP. God, what else? How come I was pretty sure it was this one. He's calling him TDS Rhino. That's so funny. Oh, is this the video? Oh no, that's Todd.
Facebook page. Trump would never be my choice.
I hope the military disobeys his order and stages a coup.
Whoa.
Sad but true, Trump is the epitome of a weak male. Trump is an idiot. Hillary is right. He is temperamentally unqualified to be president.
Siding with crooked Hillary. That's
So yeah, and it was a post that Lou did.
Anyway,
Maybe he did take it down.
Love some X drama.
Yeah, but it's crazy that he's threatening to sue people. For he's a public figure. People are going to criticize.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought this was funny. Everyone calls Dr. Stephen Greer a grifter, but he's not wearing a Rolex, Gucci shades, or driving a Cybertruck. That would be Jeremy Corbell.
Our favorite. Good man, makes good documentaries. Nothing controversial about Jeremy Corbell. Just a good guy. Good guy.
Well, last week we did covered his temper tantrum, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah, no, I still think Corbell's most likely a government plant.
Yeah, that's always been the feeling that I've got from him.
Yeah, but he's got some pretty kick-ass jiu-jitsu training to fight off his attackers.
Yeah,
so good on him.
He only has $1 million ranch and mansion in Langley, Virginia, and asked for like $5,000 a ticket to come CE5 with him. Not grifting, just a flat-out CIA scammer. Also, why the F do you people listen to a guy that brags about briefing the director of the CIA? But oh no, he's talking about Greer.
Yeah. No, I've got my complaints about Greer as well. I do think he's a bit of an opportunist.
Yeah.
And he tells some tall tales, and I think he kind of exaggerates his role and everything. But Corbell, I'd put him lower than I'd put Greer.
Yeah, agreed.
So actually, I was just looking at this before we started the show. Someone I found this post on Reddit.
Right.
Someone had looked at this some sort of lot in LA, and someone's been scribbling help in giant letters into the ground in whatever this is. But actually what I found on Reddit was there is a billboard nearby where someone has spray painted help and FBI all over it. And there's even on the sidewalk outside of it, and people were kind of leaning towards this being someone with mental illness. Because you can't scribble that much of the help all over the place without drawing attention from somebody, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's got Trafico written there, LAPD, Turismo. Was that
Trafico,
Federal, yeah. Someone needs. Oh wow, that looks like someone placed like metal. It's not scratched into the ground. It's someone placed.
Yeah, metal or wood.
Yeah. Anyway, someone really needs help wherever this is in LA.
People actually went there videotaping it.
Yeah. And this is not a great part of LA from my understanding.
All right, so it makes sense. I mean, are there like homeless people there?
Yeah. Or close by from what I understand.
This guy on it. I went back, saw a guy out and flagged him down. All
bunch of help signs up on that lot over there.
Oh.
You don't know, like you can't get in there. In there, you can't get in there.
What's that? What? They're here?
Yeah. Is this part of this?
No.
Oh, this is just where you park.
No, that one is Ferro. It's the metro, the train.
So there's no way to get in here.
No.
Okay.
Right here is construction. The guys it's a construction workers right here.
Okay.
Over there is a train.
Okay. I was just wondering, because like somebody on the ground wrote a bunch of like help.
Help?
Yeah, like.
Oh yeah. I know.
What is that?
I don't know, man. Every time that is the big ones, the small ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what is that.
Is it people just messing around?
It's a homeless.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I hope the person does get the help they need.
Like that one, shit, I got a big post like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? I know, and the little ones, I don't know who's this.
Okay.
I don't know who's
okay, no, I was just wondering. All right, have a good one, man.
Right, man.
Thank
Nice
you.
guy, bro.
Thank you.
I mean, it's cool people are going out there to try and help, right? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
here's the billboard you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Even
And
on
that
here.
there's the one on the sidewalk that I was talking about as well. Yeah. So all of this was in the Reddit thread that I found. Hopefully, like I said, I hope someone that needs help gets the help they need. Unfortunately,
agreed.
with homeless people in this country, sometimes they're not treated so great. Other times they don't do themselves any favors, and sometimes they're just flat out crazy. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
long and short of it. And there's, it's not like healthcare is cheap or easily accessible, especially if you're homeless.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
It is sad.
In LA, like you said, $24 billion was spent or stolen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it was spent on anything other than lining the pockets of bureaucrats.
Yep, absolutely. And their family, probably, because that's who the NGOs were probably started by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that concludes all the UFOs and mystery stuff. The rest is just, what Trump's been doing. I don't know if we want to go through that. It's already been 2 hours and 20 minutes. Damn.
Yeah, I think we can probably skip it. Trump's been in office for what, a week now?
Yeah, and he's doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and you whoever you are listening to this, you're already probably hearing a ton about Trump, so we don't
exactly. We don't exactly.
You don't need to hear from us.
That's definitely covered.
Yeah.
But it just shows how every week is something else coming out with the subject of UFOs and just our reality, and people now just talking about psychic abilities, and with telepathy tapes coming out, and I like it. It's good.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's a good thing. People have been linking UFOs and psychic abilities for quite some time. So now that it's finally getting some traction, overall it's a good thing.
And even the paranormal, that's part of that as well, in a way, or what's called the paranormal.
Right.
It's probably just psychic phenomenon.
Exactly. I mean, and hell, the CIA was studying this way back when. They have been.
Right.
I mean, who's the famous psychic guy who he'd see stuff on Mars and the moon, and he was able to see that Jupiter had rings before we
not McMonagall, is it?
No.
No. Who are you talking? Yeah, he wrote a book about it too.
Yeah,
he
very
died
famous
recently.
psychic.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember right now.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name, but it doesn't matter. I'm just my point. He was studied by the CIA. That was my point I was trying to make. So,
and it was called Project Stargate, which is what they're calling this new AI initiative.
Oh boy, AI psychics.
I know.
What will they think of next? But a quick word on politics. I do want to say, non-controversial Topher here. I hope that whatever happens in the future, it is beneficial for all.
Absolutely, yeah, it is, and just not to sound as a hippie, but if we believe and know the reality that everything is connected everywhere across the entire cosmos, we're not just by ourselves, individual shells. Everything you do affects someone or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you hurt someone, you're hurting yourself, right? And
exactly.
when you
you just got to remember, no matter if you disagree with someone about anything, you don't have to hate that person or be angry with them, because if you're the more negative energy you put out in the world, the more negative energy you're going to experience.
I believe that too.
That's what I believe.
Absolutely. I used to have, it's just a personal thing. I used to have lots of anxiety going into meetings and stuff, and even calls, but then I started meditating before, and I'll just say, listen, I want to project love and have a loving experience going into this, and it's completely changed. Even those meetings would end up being scary, probably because I had that energy of coming in that way of being scared. People be angry in there or not happy. That doesn't happen anymore. So
that's good, man.
It does work.
To achieve the same thing, I was prescribed medication for my anxiety, and that seems to do the trick on most days. Most, not all.
Most, yeah, I'm sure.
And me, I've got pretty severe social anxiety. So going into meetings is like my nightmare at work. I hate doing it. Hate it.
Yeah. I know what you mean. And sometimes I have to sit there and present, and it's easier if you're not presenting too. If you're just a part of, if you're just observing with everyone else, it's much easier. I think the present have a much harder time.
Well, what I'm finding is 9 out of the 10 meetings I'm going to, it's irrelevant. It's just taking up time. It's just taking up time to take up time, so people can feel like they're doing something important. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, but there are also important meetings. Like I've got one every Monday where I do have to present my workload to my fellow colleagues and let them know what's going on in the lab.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does feel good too. And it does make you want to, you have to do something, right?
Yeah.
You can't waste that week.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those Monday meetings are important.
Well, we want to thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. I have no idea what episode this is, what number.
Episode 105.
105. Thank you so much for listening to the 105th episode of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is, I have a need to know Adam, and he's going to tell all of our listeners where they can find us. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of counterintuitive, because if you're listening to the show, you found it. Do we need to tell people where to find us? I guess on social media.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if you found us we are on all the platforms, all video platforms and podcasting platforms. So yeah, I mean,
for 2 weeks at least. Who knows if YouTube's going to take? I don't think we said anything controversial this episode, so
I hope not.
I think this one will probably stay up.
Okay, hopefully. But yeah, come see us on X. Follow both of us. Topher is at Topher et al. That's his handle, and I'm at Breakaway Civil, and UAP the podcast is the podcast is on there. And because I can be controversial, I keep it on my account. I do not put it on our UAP account. I keep it all. I keep it all kosher over there.
I don't really post on X, but I will respond to DMs and things like that.
Nice.
So don't be afraid to hit us up.
Yeah, tag Topher, tag me. Let us know how we're doing. There's a support link at the end of every show. Got a shill, So you guys, if you feel like we're doing a good job, it'll be a nice pat on the back. But your comments are great as well. That really, those are really great. Thank you so much for those. Subscribing, liking, please share with your friends, all that stuff. It really goes a long way with us.
Absolutely, we love seeing the interactions that we're getting from the community.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even get us to step up our game a little bit, and it'll be a little more on the ball during episodes.
Good or bad, it's all good.
It's all good.
Next week we do have an interview possibly with someone. We're not going to say who it is, but we will introduce him when the episode happens.
That's right.
And it'll be it's definitely the difference for us, and he's very respected. And
man, talk about nervous meetings.
I know, right?
Oh, this is like a legit person in the UFO community. This is not one of our family members or friends.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So fingers crossed on that one. That should be next week.
Yeah. I don't know why I said it like that.
You're gonna do great. You're gonna do great.
I'm nervous just thinking about it. I'll take extra of my medication that day.
All right, sounds good.
And I'll keep it non-controversial.
Well, no, I mean, we're not gonna go after anyone or anything, but I think if
I will. I'm gonna throw every conspiracy at this guy.
Oh no.
You think the moon is real? You fool.
The earth is flat, bozo.
Yeah. Just go complete nut job on him. That'll make sure no one wants to come on our show.
Well, we do have a new song that you created. We're going to play that.
Yeah, I'm actually thrilled about this one. I think it turned out really well. Thank you all so much for listening. My name is Non-Controversial Topher, and I hope I lived up to that name today. See y'all next week.
Day by day, night by night, where do I stand? Where do I fight? The conspiracy is taking me, and now I'm fighting relentlessly. What's the truth and what's the lie? Will we forever fight and die? We uncover truths and tell you what's the news, what they won't tell you. It's Adam and Topher. We come in peace. Our hunt for night by night. Where do I stand? Where do I fight? The conspiracy is taking me, and now I'm fighting relentlessly. What's the truth and what's the lie? Will we forever fight and die? We uncover truths and tell you what's the news, what they won't tell you. It's Adam and Topher. We come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast. We tell you the UFO news at last. Forgive us for being brief, but the truth never sleeps.